Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to the human training your dog is begging for. If you need help understanding your dog and their behaviors, you've come to the right place. From training, behavior, emotional issues, or just the health and happiness of your dog, we want to help you understand your dog better, learn more about creating behaviors you'd like to see more, and hopefully learn how to replace some of those behaviors you'd like to see less of. Our goal is to help you and your dog improve your relationship. Basically have a dog that's a joy to live with. And we are Charles and Laura Countryman, the co-founders of Canine Culture Dog Training here in Dallas, Texas. Actually, we're in Carrollton, but it's basically Dallas, the DFW area anyhow. And as always, senior trainer and head of dog evaluations, Wyatt, joins us today.
Hello.
And then today we have a special guest, Miss Kimberly. She is our head stylist in our grooming department. And good morning, Kimberly.
Good morning.
And today we're going to be discussing with Kimberly to groom or not to groom. If you're not into grooming, you still want to listen. And the reason is it's not just a haircut. It's actually the health of your pup in many instances. There's more to grooming than a haircut. A lot of people just think grooming, oh, I have a doodle or a poodle, I need grooming. I have a shepherd, I don't need grooming. Or I have a chow, I don't need grooming. There's so many breeds that need to see a groomer. And a lot of people, I think, Kimberly, don't realize that their dog could physically be in an immense amount of pain because they have not seen a groomer.
Mm-hmm.
What causes that?
Well, the ones that need haircuts. So the ones that need haircuts, it's more about their quality of coat, the different textures, because they have different textures. Not all doodles are the same. Not all Malteses are the same. There's all different textures. As far as bath dogs go.
What's a bath dog?
So like you have your flat coat dogs, non-cutting dogs, German Shepherds, Dobermans, Rotties, Labs. Bulldogs are another demon to keep track of as far as like skin issues and whatnot. So non-haircut dogs, if the dog has less than a couple millimeters of hair, it's probably going to be a bath dog. Although you'd be surprised, some people do ask me to shave their labs, and which I don't, but then that's the feet.
That's a whole nother.
Yes. So
that's
I mean,
a whole nother podcast.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. But so yeah, going back to that is skin issues. You know, you got to kind of be on top of skin issues, whether it's a haircut dog or a bath dog. Kind of watch your dog's behavior, because sometimes their skin might not be a skin issue. It could also be a gut issue, which is what I'm finding out with my dog. It's a diet thing. So, but the diet affects the skin and the fur and all that stuff. So yeah, you just kind of got to be in tune to your dog and the behaviors and the way he normally is or she normally is. And just kind of ask somebody
and
like
get
me.
A regular bath.
Yeah. So like
with the same stylist, or we call our groomer stylist. But if you went to a regular groomer, then they would actually be able to pick up on things that you aren't picking up just by petting your dog.
And yeah, exactly. It's even so we work on dogs that are a little aggressive. And one of the dogs I groom, she trained here, and she actually hurt her neck at home, and her owner was aware of it and was like, oh yeah, well, her neck is a little sore today, but I'm going to go ahead and get her groomed. And I had her on a table, and she is a challenge, Sophie. And, but Sophie's normal aggression she was too in pain to even be aggressive. And it was more of like, I'm going to touch you here. And so I called her owner, and I'm like, I can't proceed with this groom. I think you need to take her to the vet a little sooner than the appointment she had set for that day. So it's just being in tune to your groom and knowing. She had pulled a muscle in her neck, so in her neck, and then there was something else going on in her back. So she was on pain medicine for like 2 weeks, and she came back about a month later, because that was also when we had our storms. Yeah. But your normal vet your normal groomer may not have, not knowing her, they could have made the situation, a little more worse.
Right.
and having you more worried and having you spend more
Or a
money.
new groomer if you're not seeing the same one
Exactly.
over and over because they're not familiar with
Exactly.
the dog's typical personality.
Yeah, it's kind of like, when you have your stylist, your human hair stylist or your barber. Even with my kids, I feel like, oh my God, I'm cheating on my barber.
Cheating on my barber.
Yes, I'm cheating. My son's cheating on the barber because he wants to go somewhere else. But, and that's the relationship that we build with our clients and our dogs. I mean, I don't give my personal cell phone number out, but there are a few clients that do have it and they'll text me. And, so there's that too. So but yeah.
So Kimberly is one of the original people that joined us, employees, family member, whatever. So when we first opened Canine Culture was August 1st, 2020, right in the middle of the pandemic. And for those of you that are listening to the podcast that are unfamiliar with our facility, when we leased the space, it was 43,000 square feet. It was a former indoor soccer center that we converted into a dog training facility. Since then, we've added about another 6,000 square feet for high-end deluxe and luxury boarding and play areas. When we first opened, most of the lights in the building were off because it was just me and Laura that first month. And then Wyatt joined us about a month and a half after we were open, roughly.
Roughly.
And then you.
Yep.
You were employee number 2.
Yep.
Not counting Laura and I. So the 4 of us, and then Michelle and Fabian.
Yep.
Because Fabian joined us in October and Michelle late October as well, late October. So the 4, 5, 6 of us are literally the only 6 people here that have done every aspect of every job in this building.
Except for grooming.
Yeah, I have not groomed. You have not. I've bathed dogs, but I have not given any haircuts, and you do not want me to give your dog hair.
No.
But
That's why I don't touch people here.
I tried. We were our own kennel techs when we first started.
Dog walkers.
Janitorial crew at night. We slept here a couple nights a week.
Receptionist.
Receptionist.
Terrible job.
Obviously, dog training. I mean, literally. The
Electrician.
The 4 of us have done every aspect of everybody's job here.
And if you see this place, the windows.
The windows, lots of windows.
Wow.
So let's get back to grooming.
Yeah.
So tell us about poodles and doodle dogs. What special needs do they need that sometimes doodle people do not know?
Especially first time, because doodles are the rage. I don't know the rage, but they're so popular. And most people have never had a poodle before, but now they have a doodle.
And they don't know.
I don't think they know what they're really supposed to do.
Because they're thinking they're getting
how often they're supposed to do it.
Because I think some people get poodles or doodle, like a golden doodle, and they think it's going to be like a golden retriever hair. It is not. So explain doodle hair.
And maybe they think they just need a bath. No. So, give a brand new doodle owner great advice right now.
Okay, so with doodles and poodles and anything with hair, it's just the brushing technique. So, and then the brush itself. So you have like your wire slicker brush. They have
a wire slicker brush.
Yes, they have the wire slicker brush.
Google that, it'd come right up.
Yeah, it would come up, and there should be multiple pictures of that, and they have ones designed for doodles too. But it's a brushing technique. A lot of people just go like down, like the one direction down away from like the head downward. To the tail.
With
and
the coat, how it's already done.
It's like with the grain, I guess.
Coats lay. Anyway.
And so that's fine for the top coat, and there will be no matting under there, but then you have the undercoat. So what I always tell people when they're matted is you got to go against the grain. So from on the back, it would be from the tail up. You want to get the hair and you do it in sections reverse. You want to go that way because the brush is going to pull the hair from the root up. And then when you go up the back, then when you're done, you would go back from the neck to the tail.
Yeah.
And that would get the top coat. And with the legs, it's the same thing, but opposite direction. So instead of going from the shoulder down, you're going to go from the foot up. And that's against that grain. And you want to kind of just, brush it up. You're kind of like
just a couple inches at a time,
you're like kind of teasing it like you would. And you want to do it in sections because, you just can't go up and down depending on
the whole length of the leg, right.
So you got to go in sections. And then once you go up the way, then you want to go back down the normal way of brushing. So brushing is key.
If you don't brush, what happens
So like
with a doodle?
they
or a poodle?
so they mat up, and then
They
like
mat
the
up.
thing they mat up very badly, especially if they get wet. And I'm talking not even just bath dogs, like if they're out in the rain or playing in a puddle, and I'm just gonna wash the dog, and and they'll start a tangle. And what I tell people is basically like a ponytail. A woman who has a ponytail in her hair, the knot basically just gets tighter, as if you were pulling the ponytail like this. And what it is the knot's going to continuously get tighter and tighter and tighter. And what it does is it'll eventually tear the skin. So if you're not,
And it's incredibly painful.
it's
for
very
the dog.
painful. It's bleed. You start abscesses, skin irritations. It just kind of
Or even if it doesn't cause an abscess, if your dog
it's
is
not
being
that bad.
a little grumpy or out of sorts, they could be in pain because of these knots.
because it's basically you're running around. The knots are just pulling, and it's just like someone pulling your hair 24/7. And the wet, they get wet and then they dry, regardless if it's a bath or getting wet in the rain. It's just constantly there. And then some people will brush, but they're not getting that undercoat, so they're thinking their dog's not matted, and they don't understand when I tell them, I gotta shave your dog, and I'm like, they're like, but it's not matted, and I'm like, well, this is where it's at, and I'll show them
It
a
is
video.
matted.
It's matted
underneath
from the
top
skin.
coat.
Yes, the undercoat.
They just see the top coat. Oh, it's
Yes.
not matted. But underneath that,
Yeah, it's that
pretty
skin up.
exterior coat, there's a whole mess going on.
Yeah, and other times they do know they're matted because it's literally like a wall. Like it's like sharing a sheep. If you've ever seen a video of it's literally like I've shaved dogs where I've had their whole body just in the other than the little slices or cuts, to get the hair off. I've had full body dogs on the floor, like the shape of the
it's
dog's
like-
body.
It's like you took a
Yeah,
sheep,
like a wall, like
like a wall of hair.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't come out like
No,
that.
and then
because
that's-
that means it's matted.
Yeah, it's very, very painful, very, very painful, and it's very expensive. So
Yeah, very expensive.
very expensive because
because
then
it's so time consuming.
it's time consuming, and they're like, well, you
And your
shaved my
dog's
dog.
in a little bit of pain going through this process. So it usually takes two people because one has to help hold the dog because the dog is not enjoying this either.
Nope. And then as far as like the charging that goes along with it, well, you shaved my dog down, and I don't understand why you're charging me dematting fees because you didn't take the mats off. You just shaved them off. And that's just like when you're shaving them, you have to use a certain kind of blade, and you can't just zip on through it. It's not going to take like
You'll
the
hurt
normal
them.
2.5, 3
This
hours.
is not a sheep. It's
No,
your
it's
baby dog.
yes, and
When the skin is being pulled up,
Yeah.
you don't want to cut that skin, and it's already
And you have to
trying
take your
rip.
time,
It's
or
already
you're going to cut the dog.
yes, because the skin can
It's
actually get
traumatized.
caught up into the blade, and
Yeah.
the way the blade moves, it's kind of like if you think of the pistons in your engine. So the blade itself is designed like that. You have the top blade, and then you have this underblade that's going like this. So if you're not careful, the skin can get sucked up into the blade, and that doesn't leave a straight cut. It's not just like cutting a dog with scissors. You're gonna get like this weird
gouge.
little
Yeah.
thing of a cut, and it's a lot bigger than it's really weird. I've seen them. I've never done it, but I've
It's
seen
very
them.
time consuming because
Yeah.
you have to take so many precautions to not harm the dog.
And then you get into your shampoos because the skin is like usually damaged or sore. So then I'll recommend shampoo like that might help kind of rejuvenate the skin and kind of heal the skin. So we have different shampoos for that as well.
And those are expensive. Oh my God.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, because yes.
Well, you also now got to worry about your dog overheating or being too cold because they lost all that insulation.
Yeah, because their
It's
natural
hot.
defense is
They're gonna
gone.
overheat if it's cold, and you just went from wearing a jacket to
Naked.
naked out in the cold.
Yeah, in the wintertime.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so and some people kind of get the hint and some people don't, and you'll be surprised. And it could be just the dog is just, for me, they might be better for when they're at home, because when they're at home, they're more comfortable. So of course, and it's their parents, so they give their parents more of a hard time. And for us, they might not be that challenging. So that's when I'll say, well, you could bring it. We have different things that we offer. Not so you could bring them in before haircuts due. Like if you need your dog, if you can't brush your dog,
Just need a brush out.
yeah,
Yeah.
bring them in for a brush out. Bring them in
If
for
brushing your dog,
Mhm.
this process for especially doodles is too, time consuming, or your dog won't cooperate with you, like you said, then take your dog to a groomer for a regular brush out
Yeah.
to prevent those mattings from occurring.
And
What
then-
about their ears?
So with ears, it's kind of like there's a new well, not controversy, but there's new things. Some people are for plucking the ears of dogs, and it's not just doodles that have hair in the ears. It's different breeds, schnauzers, Maltese, any of those dogs. You look in your dog's ear, and if it looks like an old man ear, then they need to, usually the old school way was to pluck it out, because what happens is the wax builds up onto the hair, and it could lead to like inner ear infections, or it could start that way. So back in the day and to now, usually we pluck out the ear, and there's a special antiseptic powder that we use. We put it in there, and it deadens the root, and it also helps you grip. So we put that in there. I usually let it sit in there like a minute. I'll put it in both ears, and I let it sit in there a minute. But if it's a new dog, they're not going to like it. It's not pleasant. It's just like, going to the dentist, I think, maybe worse.
Yeah. Think about it. If you have a mustache, just pluck all the hair out of your mustache.
Yeah.
So how often should they do that so it doesn't build up?
So usually I tell my people for like haircuts, it's like 6 to 8 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a tidy up, or it's 6 to 8 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks for a bath dog. That's a dog just coming in to get the nails and ears and a bath. But you got to be kind of in tune with your dog, and I know people have busy lives. Some people don't have time to worry about that stuff. That's why they bring them to us. But you kind of gotta, you're taking responsibility to have this dog, then you need to it's just like a child. You need to take the extra responsibility
for their health. And
so, so you want to pluck, like I said, it's hit or miss with the plucking. I check the ears out. If I feel like it's this dog, or if I smell something that's a little funny, I don't pluck their ears. I just recommend them to take them to the vet and let the vet check, because it's not worth it.
Because it could be an ear infection.
It could be a starting of an ear infection. Me plucking the ear could cause an ear infection. So it's kind of like having common sense. Some people, even some of my people, they tell me, oh, don't worry about plucking the ears. And, I'm like, okay, that's fine. I make a special note. But usually, I check the dog's ears out, and if they need it and it's really bad, then I'll get it done, because you can kind of also tell by the dog's behavior. They get used to it after so long.
Yeah.
They just stand there and it's nothing to them, but other dogs it's not. So that causes other issues too. So it's back and forth with the ear plucking thing. So sometimes it's personal preference.
Yeah.
How early should they start getting their dogs groomed?
You should expose the dogs probably within the first couple of weeks of getting a dog. So you get a dog, 8 weeks?
Yes.
Usually is the normal time to get a dog is 8 weeks. Depending on the breed, you want to get them used to their nails being touched. It's not just touching them, but the pressure of the clippers. I prefer Dremels. I use the Dremel. But some dogs actually act better with the clippers. So it's getting them in about, get to know your dog. So get your dog at 8 weeks, maybe about 3 weeks in to having your pup. Bring them on in to kind of get them a bath, or if it's a
used to the process, but without having to get groomed.
Yeah. So you bring them in, and you might not need a bath, but we could just kind of do like some kind of play with the ears, just kind of get an idea, because the behaviors, it's just like with training, these behaviors start happening. And if they're not exposed, it's just like,
what are you doing to me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why are you throwing me on this table? And
with this stranger and this strange place and this weird smells, and
You should do that with every puppy.
You really should.
Yeah.
Not just
every
you.
puppy.
In our puppy classes, that's one of the things we do is put them on the table and pass the pup. Have lots of people touch their ears, touch their rump, touch their tail, their toes.
Yeah.
Get them used to basically in prep for a vet visit. So this way they're not associating getting a shot every time they go get put on a table, or for grooming. So they're not getting clipped every time they get put on a table.
Just like a kid, every time I go to the doctor, they get a shot. They don't like.
Yeah, I hated when I was a kid. The only time
you get shot
was for your annual shots. I despised going to the doctor as a kid.
So how often should you do their nails? Say you rescued a dog and their nails probably have never been done. How long does it take to get that quick back to normal? Because you can't just chop the whole nail off.
So
they don't have human nails.
No. So that's why I prefer the Dremel, because you can tell where the nail stops and the quick begins by the shape of the nail, but being on the computer or this, you can't see.
Yeah.
So basically you bring them on in, and I like the Dremel. So the Dremel, you kind of Dremel them back. But I would say, I usually tell my guys every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks to help, it'll take about, so if it's kind of killing two birds with one stone, if you have a dog that's evil for its nails or not cooperative, some dogs will try and They
Nip
just,
ya?
yeah.
You almost straight up try to
Pickles,
attack.
Yes, so Pickles, yes, Wyatt's dog. I only do Wyatt's dog when Wyatt holds his dog because Pickles hates
As
me.
long as I hold him, he's great.
Yes, other
But
than
if
that,
I'm not
he's
in
like
the room,
Cujo.
he does not cooperate.
Yes, he's like Cujo. So we do have
Cujo.
Cujos, and I kind of same thing with cats. I take it as a challenge to do like the
You do
non-coop-
cats?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Not yet, but we're working towards
We're
it.
working towards a
getting ready
kitty.
to
Yes.
Open up the cat.
Can you explain what a quick is for people that do not know
So
what that is?
quick is like, all right, so I don't have nails because I bite my nails. And
But we
they
all
rip
have
off.
a
But we
quick,
have
yeah.
nails, yes.
Yeah.
So like basically it's where your nail ends and your skin begins. So like if you like when you have babies and you cut that baby's nail too short that first time,
Mm.
that's like quicking a dog. So it bleeds, it hurts, it's
It's
uncomfortable.
sensitive.
It's very
Yeah.
sensitive. And then and then that also introduces a fear. So what you do is I always tell people to bring your dog in every 2 weeks. If they have that fear and if they have those long quicks, within I would say 6 months, maybe maybe not the worst case scenario, but usually within 6 months, you will have a dog that both is getting used to and desensitized to the process
Mhm.
and getting that quick to
And now
receive
the
back.
quick is back where it should
Should
be.
be, yeah.
And now
Yeah.
it'll be a
And then you
normal
do it
clip.
like every 6 to 8 weeks,
When you get
or
their
every
bath.
Once you
yeah,
get that
whenever
quick
you get the bath.
Yeah. And not all dogs need their nails clipped.
Nope.
Mm-mm.
Some dogs do a great job
Naturally.
of just naturally wearing them down.
Mhm.
One of our dogs does a great job with his back feet, but not his front feet.
Yeah.
So he just needs his front feet clipped
Yep, and-
because how he plays
Walks.
and walks, he
Yeah.
just doesn't wear those front nails down.
Yeah.
Mhm. And that's what we do. We look and like I said, the Dremel's pretty good. And it's just like a normal Dremel, not the little fancy doggy Dremels. You just get a Lowe's Dremel and it works really well. It lasts a long time. And then again, like I said, some dogs are fearful of that because of one, the vibration and the sound. They don't like the way it feels, so they'll prefer the clippers over it. And then, or if you have a dog that's nails are way long.
Now, one thing you could do as a dog owner is, like Kimberly said, go to Walmart or Lowe's, just buy a normal Dremel,
Mm-hmm.
turn it on, they look, give them a snap.
Mm-hmm.
Turn it on, they look, give them a snap.
Yeah.
Turn it on, touch the butt, not the grinding operating
Ending
part,
of it, yeah.
Yeah.
up against your dog and give them a snap. Just
Mhm.
desensitize them to the noise and the vibration of it,
Mm-hmm.
and then tap their toenail with the actual grinding
Mm-hmm.
part, and then give them a snack. There's so much that you as that our
I know.
pet owners can do to desensitize and get their
Mhm.
dog used to that Dremel.
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe you never need a groomer to do your dog's nails.
Well,
if
you probably
just-
will. Most dogs have dew claws
Yeah.
that don't naturally grind down, and those will grow into the
Yes.
pad. Most
Yeah.
dogs,
Yeah.
you just do it on their checkups, and they
Right.
just do a show cut, and they cut it all the way back
Yeah.
and heal it, and it's not a big deal. But some dogs that dew claw, which is people that don't know what a dew claw is,
It's
it's
like
like
a
the thumb. It's kind of up the leg a little bit, and it's that little. It looks useless.
But it's
Little claw.
connected.
Not
it
all the
is
time though.
connected.
That's the
Yeah.
problem with that too.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
like,
that is right.
Hunting
if they're not,
dogs aren't
if they're not connected. I used to work for a vet, and my vet
They
would
take 'em
tell,
off.
just
Yeah.
like while they're under for something, just zip them off
Take it
because
off.
Yeah.
It is
it's a
nuisance.
dangerous.
It's like an appendix,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
It's
useless
useless.
and it's dangerous if it gets caught on something, it'll tear,
and it will tear.
It's
and it's a
Ugh.
lot of blood.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if quick advice you ever give a tip, get your dog anytime your dog goes under for anything. If
Take
your vet hasn't already said, "Hey, let's take the dew claws off," take your dog's dew claws
If
off.
they're not
Yeah,
attached.
but if they're attached, you cannot do that.
The ones
Yeah.
that are attached to the bone, and it's
Yeah.
doable. It's just expensive,
Right.
and it's a
Yeah, yeah.
surgery.
Okay, and here's another question. Me and one of the trainers were talking about her dog and his anal glands.
Oh,
Can you
yeah.
explain
yeah.
anal
What
glands
is
and
that?
what
What
are
is
they?
up with
Why are
anal
they?
expressions and why do
Because
people?
her dog expressed his anal glands all over her bed, and it was a horrible idea.
Oh my god, that would be a nightmare.
Terrible. Oh yeah, she was not
Throw it
fun.
away.
Oh, I'd throw the whole bed away.
No, you can
Not
wash
just the
it.
not just the
Oh no, she
blanket.
threw
I
not
bet.
the bed away, but
The
everything.
mattress.
blanket
Oh
and
my
everything.
lord, it's washable. No, okay,
Anyway.
well, because I'm a groomer and that stuff doesn't bother me. I mean, same thing. Oh yeah. Anyways, long story.
So,
Anal glands are.
Yeah, 'cause a lot of people don't understand what they are, why they are, and
I call
what's
it.
going on.
So what are they first?
So
What's the use of it?
the technical term for anal glands is basically it's the lubricant that's in the butt or in the anus that help lubricate the poop as it comes out. So it's not like
Do we have
hurts.
anal glands?
We do.
Okay.
I think that's what I was actually talking to somebody about that. I was like, people have anal glands, and I'm like, I think we do.
Okay,
But I don't know.
Anyway.
Anyway, so I call it butt juice, and my
Butt
husband,
juice.
yes, I was like, you gotta get the butt juice out. But yeah, my husband hates that. But anyway, yes, the anal glands.
So
Anal
it's a
glands.
useful thing, but why do some get?
Because
Doesn't
so they express it themselves naturally,
Mhm.
but sometimes so as it's doing its job, they have these two little pockets on the side. They kind of they retain the fluid. So sometimes if it's not expressing on itself naturally, it'll kind of collect in those two little pockets. And to me, they feel like two little grapes on the side of the butt.
Okay.
What happens is one, if it's too full, the dog will start scooting because I guess it would be itchy and
Yeah.
pressure.
So if your dog's scooting, that's
Yeah, it's like
typically a
usually
sign.
it's one of
Okay.
the signs. So like, and then what also happens is because I've had this happen on my table when a dog is like giving me a heart, it's that if either they're excited or they're fear, and the fear, they'll release it on their own.
Almost like a fart.
Yes,
kinda.
and it's like a wet fart, and it's gross, and it's it's stinky, and I've had it on me, and ugh.
It's gross.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
very nasty. It's a distinct odor. If you smelled it, you know it. But anyway, so when you bring them to the groomer, but then also some breeds, you're not supposed to express the glands. I think it's the pointer dogs.
Okay.
Some people don't like you to do it, but anyway, it's just it's kind of like milking a cow kind of thing. It's kind of like, all right, so you have the butt hole right here, and then you have the little spots, say like what is that, 3 o'clock
side,
and 9 o'clock,
yeah.
whatever.
Yep.
Anyway, you want to come up behind it, and you're just kind of squeezing it out, but you have to like shield it with your hands so it doesn't get in your face, your hair, and all over you. But you need to get it out.
Good tip.
Okay.
You
Yes.
don't want it in your face and your hair.
Yes,
and all over
and
you.
honestly, it's like you might think this is
Honestly,
gross.
you want a groomer.
Yes, you want the
Yeah.
groomer to do it
You
because
do
people
not want
are
to
like,
experiment with
yeah,
this.
or your vet, because
Or your vet. Yeah.
because the problem I've been taught how to do it internally and externally. Internally, it's a little more. You need more. Like internally, you're definitely gonna glove up, and you need KY or some kind of lubricant because you got to put your fingers in the butt and squeeze from inside out. So I don't do them internally. So the only way I don't get them done is if your dog puckers up. They pucker up is basically they suck everything inward, and I can't grab it. It's just like those two little grapes on the side are just pulled all the way to the back, and you can't get them. So a lot of times, like
So people should get their
yeah,
dogs
we
anal
get
glands
them done express.
It's called
like,
express.
Yes, expression, and we do report cards here. So usually, at the end of the groom, I'll give a little report card, and I'll be like, "Oh, your baby puckered up, so I wasn't able to do your glands. If it becomes an issue, you might have to speak to your vet about it because they may need to get it done internally because they pucker. Yeah."
Right.
If there's certain breed, size dogs or whatever that have more problems with the anal glands, or is it all dogs?
I think bulldogs tend to have because they tend to have a lot of issues with the skin.
Of course
Bulldogs.
they do.
But no, usually the problems I've seen is bulldogs and like maybe little dogs like Yorkies and Maltese. Sometimes they get impacted for whatever reason.
What about common breeds like golden retrievers and terriers? Do they need their glands expressed or no?
If you can get them, again, it's with those guys, it's usually a puckering thing.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
If they like pucker too much.
Okay.
But yeah, it's hit or miss. Usually I go back there and I feel if I feel those big grapes, I'm like, all right, well, I'll just kind of get what I can get, and I don't force it, never force it, because
And
that's how you could rupture a gland.
Kind of a
Oh.
takeaway for those listening would be if your dog is dragging their hind end across the grass a lot,
They probably
they
got
probably
something
need
going on
their
back
anal
there.
glands expressed.
Mhm.
Or worms.
Yes,
worms.
yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause there's some itching
Yes,
going on.
yes,
Yeah.
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 'cause
Their anal glands or something is sticking out of their butt. That's not-
Yes, 'cause-
Ow.
Well, yeah. there's a-
Well, yeah, because it's not just worms, but I've seen strings hanging out there. It just
Oh, you
depends
just
on
gotta
what kind
pull that out.
Yeah.
Yes,
Pull
leaves,
it out.
sticks, worms. I've seen
What
roundworms.
about shedless?
Oh,
So yes, yeah. So that's what that's what going shooting back into like
Bathing.
your mostly bathing dogs, non-haircut dogs.
Like shepherd.
Shepherds, even your chows,
Retrievers.
chows, shepherds,
Cattle
retrievers,
dogs,
the cattle dogs, huskies,
labs.
Yeah.
anything when they have triple coats, double coats and triple coats.
Okay, so not so much labs.
Labs, it's kind of like,
on their coat.
Depends
yeah,
on
it
the
depends on
lab.
their coats, because
Some
I've
of
had a
them-
pit bull that, I mean, his hair was like this, but it was
Yeah.
like he splintered off hair. It was bad.
Oh, wow.
He shed it a lot, but I don't know if it was, I don't
Who
know.
knows? But
Who knows?
anyway.
That was 20, 30 years ago. But anyway, but yeah, so Shedless, our Shedless is a special package. It's like an add-on package. You add it on to the bath. And it's like a special shampoo that we use that basically it gets the hair that's dying or already dead. It helps remove
Free
it
it.
faster.
Yeah.
And so, and it gets about 85 to 90% of all that off. Your dog is still going to kind of sprinkle off hair because it continues to work. over.
Especially for the first few days following.
Yeah.
that
So you want
procedure.
to, and I always tell my guys, I was like, all right, there might be some sprinkling of hair. It depends on the breed again. Some dogs don't, some dogs do. So you're gonna have to brush your dog for the next few days just to kind of get that, help it along. But yeah, it's a special, it's a longer process. It's about an extra hour and a half or so of, depending on the dog and how bad their coat is, of brushing and blow drying. So we have like these handheld dryers that we use. It's high velocity dryers. And it's basically snowing hair.
Yeah, snowing hair.
It's kind of cool. I took in a few videos of it because it's kind of cool looking.
And how often does someone do that? That has-
Same thing. It's like
They do it
watch your
every
dog's
time?
coat like probably like the 4 to 6 weeks.
Oh,
'cause
wow, okay.
It during that
But it
shedding season.
probably
During the
depends on
season.
the-
Yeah,
the
so the
season.
winter you wouldn't do that.
Oh, if you get it done like the first, because they're gonna shed their summer coat
Oh,
for
yeah,
their winter
yeah,
coat
yeah.
and vice versa. So it's usually a seasonal thing.
Okay.
But then you do have those weird dogs that just kind of have that shedding going on all the time.
George,
Like our George, our
George
dog.
just started shedding like crazy this
Yeah.
weekend. It's
Yeah.
Like, what the heck?
Because it's
dude?
getting warm.
Oh,
Yeah, he's probably dropping his winter coat.
Yes, he is.
Because
In
even
a
though
big
the
way.
weather, because Texas weather is bipolar.
Right.
So even though
Yes.
the weather doesn't cooperate with the seasons, the dogs' bodies are
Yes.
going to do their thing. So
Yeah, because tomorrow's supposed to be almost 80, and then Thursday's supposed to be 46.
that's ridiculous.
Or you could have your late winter storm, and then the dog decides, oh, I need a winter coat again, and it just sends them through a loop.
Yeah. It's
so
weird.
brush your dog, brush your dog, brush your dog.
Yeah.
Lots of brushing.
No matter what
Brushing-
kind of fur
What's
they
a
have,
good
right?
brush?
that. So they have the different kinds of. So they do have the wire slicker brushes, but they
Wire
have
slicker brush.
wire slicker brushes, but they also come in different like forms. Like they have a soft one, a medium one, and the soft and medium. It's basically how stern or
The-
how
the
stiff
wires are.
the way, yeah, how it gives. So like if you have a Maltese or a Yorkie, you're gonna want to use a soft wire slicker brush.
Okay.
So, okay.
Because if the harder slicker brushes could scratch their skin.
Okay.
And you want to have multiple brushes because you might not always need that wire slicker
Right,
brush.
right.
You're
Yeah.
gonna have like a normal bristle brush. Or like with your bigger dogs, we have, I can't remember what it's called, but it's kind of shaped like a like a
horseshoe.
circular, yeah,
Oh,
like
yeah.
a circular thing on a stick
Yeah,
like
yeah.
this.
Mhm.
And it has these little things on it, and
Yeah.
it's good to kind of flip the hair off.
Yeah.
It kind of gets the undercoat out. But yeah, it's just lots of brushing and no diet and just being aware of your dog and
So-
their moods.
What do you do when your dog starts developing a mat?
Oh, yeah.
So,
Especially the thin little fluffy
Yeah, by
hair
the ears
behind
and
the
stuff.
ears.
There's a dematting tool, and basically you can Google dematting tools, and it basically looks like kind of like a fork like thing. It's like scissors but it's safer than scissors. So a lot of people, I took scissors to my dog, and I'm like, okay. So they'll have these big gashes in them, another thing what you don't want to use scissors for is because if they move the wrong way, you could slice your dog with your scissors.
Yeah.
So this tool is like scissors, but it's designed not to cut the dog. So if you Google dematting tools, you could,
Dematting tool.
yes, a dematting tool, and talk to your groomer because
And
I
talk to your groomer,
yes,
yeah.
just come to me or go to your groomer and just ask them about these things, because if the groomer is a good groomer, regardless of their job, they're gonna help you do what you need to do for your dog
Right.
so that
So
their
that way,
job
every
is
time
easier.
your dog comes in, it's a
Yeah, it
good
makes their job
experience.
easier.
Yeah.
And it's happy times and
Yeah.
stuff. But anyways, yeah, so it's a dematting tool that you could use to help break down that mat. And it's like
Okay.
and just brushing. If you notice a knot,
brushing.
lots of brushing.
What about teeth?
Teeth,
And we'll
just
end with teeth.
yes, we'll end with teeth. So we do teeth brushing. You have the regular toothbrush, you have the dog. It's basically like us. If you think about it, it's like you should brush their teeth every day. It helps
Mhm.
prevent the tartar buildup. Try and stay away from wet food. Wet food helps build that tartar up faster. I mean, you can give it to them for a treat, but wet food rots their teeth faster. Give them the dry food. you can get their teeth brushed every time you get them groomed. And then you could also buy the stuff yourself and do it daily if you make the time to do it.
Right.
It's like my dog is like the mechanic's car. It's like I should be doing all this stuff for my personal dog. He's with me at work every day. Do I have the time to deal with him? No. So he never gets his teeth brushed hardly. You know, if I think about it, I do it. So it's kind of like, so I understand, but you know, make time, you know, just like, you know, getting on your kids, brush your teeth every day.
Yeah.
Every day is good. Every time you get them groomed is good. It'll
Little
prevent
bit of effort
It'll
stops
prevent the
big
dentals to come
Yeah.
faster
because
those
they gotta put them under to do the teeth correctly. and
yes,
that's
a vet, yes, a
And it's very expensive to do, Georgie.
And it's
And if
scary.
your dog
Once-
has terrible breath, they probably need the teeth brushed just like a
Yes.
human.
Yep.
And they could put stuff in their system just like a human if they have
Yes,
bad
the
And they tend
bacteria.
to wait till they're old.
teeth. Yeah,
Yeah.
And then
So
it's
bacteria
scary to put
grows,
them
and now we have
under.
a,
Yeah.
a
Do
health
it.
issue.
it's all.
Yep, and a very expensive in teeth removal. Yes.
Well, thank you, Miss Kimberly, for joining us today. And at the end of July, you'll been here. End of August, you'll been here for 3 years.
3 years.
Oh my gosh, 3 years. Thank you guys. It was fun.
So next week, let's go parking or not. We are going to talk about our dog parks traumatizing your dog.
Oh, dog park.
Yeah, we'll get into the goods and the bads of dog parks, and I think you're going to be probably surprised by some of our opinions on that. But we will talk about the whys. And if our discussion today connected with you, feel free to reach out to us on our website, k-9culture.com. You can click on the Contact Us and enter your dog training goals, or if you have a question you'd like us to answer on an upcoming podcast, feel free. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, K9 Culture Dog Training DFW, for more dog training info. And if you are needing help with your dog, we'd love to help you guys. Reach out to us through our website or give us a call. We'll discuss any issues you're having with your pup, what your goals are, and how we can help your pup with their training journey. And until next time, go have fun with your dog.
Yay.